Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. These stories take time to research and tell properly, and your support helps keep them alive. Now let's talk about Wayne Karini, a man millions came to trust without ever truly knowing the battles he was fighting when the cameras were off. What most viewers saw was calm confidence, steady hands, and quiet wisdom. What they didn't see was how fragile everything behind that image had become over time. For decades, Wayne Karini built a reputation that felt untouchable. To collectors and fans, he wasn't just a restorer, he was a guardian of automotive history. If a car was forgotten, damaged, or written off as hopeless, Wayne was the man people believed could bring it back. That trust didn't appear overnight. It was earned slowly, one car at a time, through patience, skill, and a deep respect for the machines he worked on. But trust, once shaken, is incredibly difficult to rebuild. Wayne's story didn't start on television or at auctions filled with wealthy collectors. It began inside a small garage, surrounded by grease, metal, and the steady rhythm of tools. His father, Bob Carini, was already a respected name in the automotive world and had co-founded the Model A Restorers Club of America in 1952. Wayne grew up watching cars most people had given up on come back to life. That environment shaped him early, long before fame or controversy entered the picture. By the time Wayne was in third grade, his childhood looked very different from most kids. While others played with toys, he was learning how engines worked, even building a Model A engine from scratch. Cars weren't just machines to him, they were stories, puzzles, and pieces of history. Even so, he didn't immediately embrace that path. As he grew older, Wayne believed there might be a more stable future outside the garage, something less demanding and less risky than automotive restoration. In adulthood, Wayne tried to step away from the world that raised him. He pursued studies in art education, hoping to build a quieter, more predictable life as a teacher. Art spoke to him creatively, and teaching felt safer than relying on a business tied to reputation and high expectations. But reality set in quickly. Teaching didn't provide enough financial stability, and Wayne realized that the world he tried to escape was the one that truly needed him. Cars weren't just his upbringing, they were his calling. Returning to restoration, Wayne approached his work with renewed focus. This time, his attention turned toward Ferraris, a move that would quietly redefine his career. In 1973, he restored his first Ferrari, a moment he later described as a lifelong dream fulfilled. That project opened doors he never expected. His father eventually gifted him half of the shop, trusting Wayne to carry the legacy forward. Without chasing fame, Wayne's name began circulating at events, auctions, and private collections across the country. Wayne never planned to be a public figure. He didn't seek cameras or recognition, but his knowledge, honesty, and calm presence stood out in a world full of loud personalities. At an automotive event in the mid-2000s, television producer Jim Astrakan noticed something rare in Wayne: authenticity. He didn't perform for attention, he simply worked. That quality became the foundation for what would later become Chasing Classic Cars, a show that changed Wayne's life in ways he never anticipated. When the show premiered in 2008, it felt different from anything else on television. There was no forced drama, no scripted arguments, no flashy tricks. It was simply Wayne doing what he had always done, now with cameras quietly observing. Viewers connected with that honesty immediately. For 13 years, audiences followed him through barn finds, negotiations, restorations, and rare discoveries. Wayne wasn't playing a character. He was being himself, and that made the success even heavier to carry. A major part of the show's heart came from Wayne's partnership with Roger Barr, a veteran mechanic whose dry humor and experience grounded the series. Their on-screen chemistry felt genuine because it was. To viewers, they looked like two friends sharing a lifetime of work and trust. But behind the scenes, the pressure of filming, deadlines, and expectations began wearing everyone down. Running F40 Motorsports while producing a demanding television series stretched Wayne thinner than most people realized. As the show grew more popular, the margin for error disappeared. Any mistake could be magnified. Any delay could spark criticism. Wayne relied on managers to handle client communication, but when things went wrong, the responsibility always landed on him. Reputation became both his greatest asset and his greatest vulnerability. Outsiders saw success. Wayne felt constant pressure. In 2019, fans noticed something strange when season 14 aired only 4 episodes. Officially, nothing was said, but the silence spoke loudly. Behind that silence was growing tension. Roger Barr quietly left the show after a dispute involving payment. Later, he revealed he had never been paid for his television appearances and was struggling with health issues and financial hardship. Fans were shocked. The friendship they believed in suddenly seemed fractured. Whether fair or not, Wayne's name became tied to that disappointment. It was the first public crack in an image built on trust, and it wouldn't be the last. The most damaging chapter began without Wayne even realizing it. Years earlier, a rare 1934 Piercero coupe became the center of a complex legal nightmare. An Australian collector named Robert Richmond had paid for the car through an intermediary, Gary Dixon, who promised restoration and delivery. The car never arrived. Years passed, communication collapsed, and Dixon eventually declared bankruptcy while still holding the vehicle. Richmond was left with nothing but unanswered questions. Unbeknownst to Richmond, Dixon later sold the Piercero using paperwork obtained under questionable circumstances. When Going Motors requested an appraisal, Wayne inspected the car and valued it professionally. Everything appeared legitimate. The ownership documents checked out. Acting in good faith, Wayne purchased the car. Soon after, RM Auctions offered far more than expected, and the vehicle was sold again. On paper, every step looked clean. In reality, the foundation was already broken. When Richmond finally traced the car's path, he discovered it had been sold and resold without his consent. The lawsuit that followed named everyone involved, including Wayne and F40 Motorsports. For Wayne, it was devastating. He believed he had followed industry standards and relied on official documentation. Yet suddenly, his integrity was being questioned publicly. For 2 years, the case dragged on, feeding speculation, online debates, and whispers that no legal verdict could easily erase. In 2020, the court ruled that Richmond was the rightful owner and that Gary Dixon had acted dishonestly. Wayne and his businesses were cleared of wrongdoing, though they were required to help financially restore the chain of ownership. Legally, it was fair. Emotionally, it was exhausting. Wayne had spent his life building trust, and now that trust felt damaged by association. Even innocence doesn't protect against public doubt, especially in a reputation-based industry. Just as the Piercero case faded, an older controversy resurfaced. In 2011, a client purchased a Lamborghini Gallardo advertised with a rare luxury luggage package. When the car arrived, the package was missing. Promises were made, then communication stopped. Emails went unanswered. Frustration turned into legal action. Only then did Wayne personally respond, explaining the luggage had been located. It was eventually delivered, along with a spare key previously withheld. Though the dispute ended privately, the buyer shared his experience online. For readers, the issue wasn't the luggage. It was silence. It reinforced a growing narrative that as Wayne's world expanded, communication within his business suffered. Again, not fraud, not dishonesty, but perception. And perception can be unforgiving. Each small controversy added weight to a reputation already under strain from lawsuits and public scrutiny. By the time these stories circulated widely, chasing classic cars was quietly nearing its end. The final episode aired in 2021 without announcement, farewell, or explanation. 13 years ended in silence. Fans were left to speculate. Some blamed legal troubles. Others blamed exhaustion. Many believed the cost of balancing fame, business, and trust had finally become too heavy. Wayne never offered a public explanation. He simply stepped back. Yet Wayne Karini never disappeared. He continued restoring cars, attending vintage races, and quietly protecting his father's legacy. In recent years, he has reappeared at events, calmer, more reserved, shaped by experience. His story isn't about downfall. It's about the hidden cost of success. The pressure of being trusted by millions, the weight of mistakes you didn't make, and the reality that even legends carry burdens the audience never sees. What do you think was Wayne Karini's greatest challenge? The lawsuits, the pressure of television, or the struggles inside his own business? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy deep stories about the real lives behind famous shows, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us for more.